All right, welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. The GOP are good at many things. We've learned this lately. The GOP, they're good at memes. They're good at hot takes. They're good at infighting, which we're witnessing in this primary season. We're also good at reading primary polls. But I want to warn you guys, I want to warn all of us that are in the GOP, we cannot take Dark Brandon lightly. I want to remind you that in just 2.5 years, the old, decrepit man in the White House has erased virtually all of Trump's accomplishments. He's gotten 2 major pieces of legislation. He's won one debt-ceiling battle. Now, I think he's going to win another. So let's not take Dark Brandon lightly heading in to 2024. All right, now, I want you guys to join me on all things social media. At The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find me. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. Please join me on YouTube. You can review and rate us there. Give us a 5. Help us to move up the charts. The same is true for Rumble. I believe that is the case. Wherever you can rate and review us, give us a 5. Give us the highest number possible. Guys, please check us out on YouTube. Subscribe there. Also I want to make sure that we're on Rumble. You guys see what's happening to Russell Brand. I think when the left are fearful of someone, they find a way to cancel them. So make sure, even if you're following us on one of your favorite spots or the easiest spots, make sure you follow us on one of these free speech spots that you know is not going to go anywhere. Rumble is one of those spots. So we would certainly appreciate that. And then also, Mike Lindell at mypillow.com, an American company, American manufacturing. All you have to do to get deep discounts that are now available. Some deals, Giza sheets, 50% off. Other deals, some of the deals there are over 60% off. You're talking about pillows. You're talking about mattress toppers, dog beds, you name it. Made in America, American jobs. All you have to do is use the promo code Carl. All right, Radio Podcast Square at the top of the page. Enter my name, Carl, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. All right, Gabe, I hope you got that brilliant short at the beginning. Did you guys check that out? Anyway, but listen, I think I summed it up good. My goal isn't to come here today and beat up the GOP, but I want to be a little realistic. Honestly, participating in some of these Twitter spaces have been really eye-opening in both good and bad ways. You kind of get a pulse of what people are feeling out there. Obviously, a lot of the Twitter spaces that I go into are mostly conservative. There's no doubt about it. But left-wingers get into these things and they share their point of view and people listen to them, and that's fine. One was being hosted by a liberal last night that I was in, but there was still a majority of conservatives that were in the space. So it was really, really fascinating, really interesting. You see and meet a lot of good people there. And but there were a lot of takeaways. There are a lot of takeaways for me, for not from that space in particular, but because there's a lot of activists that participate in the space. But I've just noticed this. I shouldn't say that I've noticed this. I've spoken on this before, but I want to be more, what's the word, prescient, I guess, or express more of a sense of urgency that we need to get out the vote in 2024. And guys, I don't expect everybody to be an activist, but I do expect you to get your butts out and vote. Make sure that no vote is left behind, so to speak. And I would encourage you to make sure you get out and vote early. Get out and vote early, and then bring somebody to the poll. Bring somebody to the polls on election day and or before. Take somebody with you to vote. Not everyone can be an activist. Not everyone is going to be a Charlie Kirk or a Candace Owens or, you know what I mean, an Officer Tatum. Scott Pressler, he was on the Twitter space that I was on last night. He's going out and registering people, gangbusters, doing the Lord's work. Brandon Straka was on there. You guys know him from the Walk Away campaign. Not all of us are built like that. Not everyone's going to be a Scott Pressler. Not everyone is going to be a Brandon Straka. Perhaps you're called to be that, and perhaps some people have the inkling to do that, and if so, do it. But do whatever God has called you to do. If it's just to hold up signs, so be it. If it's to take an extra body to the polls to make sure, I say body, I'm not a Democrat, to take an extra person to the poll to make sure that they vote, go ahead and do that. if it's to try to persuade somebody on your political point of view, and I would say don't waste a lot of time there. When you realize you run into a person that whose mind you aren't going to change, kick the dust off your sandal. But we all can do our part. Just do a little bit more. If you just take one person to the poll, don't listen to these people that say, I'm sorry. I think sometimes conservatives just go bat crazy. Everybody's got to run for everybody's got to run for office. Everybody's got to do this. No, there's not enough office seats, but maybe you do need to donate to somebody who is. Make sure you know who your not just your national candidates. Make sure you know who your local candidates are, right? Maybe you give them $10, maybe you give them $50, maybe you give them $2,000. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, whatever you can afford. But maybe you get involved. You do a little more than you did the last time, because, and I'm going to explain to you why that's important. But before I do, I have a litany of videos that I would like to show you. This is AG Merrick Garland, and we're going to be going through these. I mean, we're going to go through these quick, fast, in a hurry. Gabe has got plenty of videos set up for you guys to watch. So I think this is the first time that Gabe has really worked in quite some time, to be honest with you. But anyway, so Gabe, so Gabe, so, so Gabe has got some videos lined up. Let me just bring you a couple of headlines. This one was yesterday. I really I wanted to get into this a little more deeply, but I won't. I think just reading the headline and just giving you a brief summary is enough, and then we'll go through the videos here quickly, and then I want to talk to you about why we can't take Dark Brandon for granted, or and just simply believe just because Biden is in the White House, and though he might be the nominee for 2024, we can run all over them. Guys, we're not running against Joe Biden in 2024. We are, but we aren't. All right. And again, I think there's time for the Democrats to kick him under the bus, throw him under the bus. And there's no doubt they're going to try to do so. But I believe there's more reports out that Jill Biden is helping behind the scenes. And I believe that all along. I mean, we've had, what was it? Edith Wilson. I believe that was the name, the wife of Woodrow Wilson's wife that essentially ran the presidency after he had his stroke. So I think that's the case with Joe Biden. That's the sense that I get. I don't believe Joe Biden wants to go anywhere. She's probably disgruntled when it comes to talks of Kamala Harris or Michelle Obama coming in to save the day, when she can use her basically corpse of a husband when he's lucid to get bark out in order, and the administrative state just kind of follows through. As well as being lefties themselves that want to fundamentally transform America. But here's the headline. It's from Red State. And I read through this yesterday, and I just thought it was fascinating because I want you guys to understand that what we're up against is a machine. So I get so tired and sick and tired. I hear conservatives all the time, and you do too, and maybe you've participated in it. I'm not knocking you because I think people want to feel good and need to feel good about something. But it fascinates me how wrapped up we are as Republicans in these primary. Oh, Trump is ahead by 50, 60. Like that's supposed to make us feel good. Like that's supposed. And I guess in long term, people have to hold on to some type of hope, I guess. So I guess the hope is for people, listen, he's ahead so much in the primary. He becomes the nominee. He's going to run away with it. He's going to win. And I'm just here to tell you, no, it's not going to be that easy. I don't even believe the primary polls. And that's not to say that Trump isn't ahead. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying these people have no clue how to poll in this modern age. And don't rely on polls. Just put your feet to the ground and do the work. Whatever it is, make sure you show up, I would say, before Election Day, and then try to bring somebody else to the polls by Election Day. Or before, preferably. Anyway, having said that, here's the headline. Biden administration makes unbelievable move to reemploy James Clapper and John Brennan. You guys know who those people are, right? Reemploy them. The people responsible, in part, for the Russia collusion hoax. They're going to bring them back. Head to Red State. Remember James Clapper and John Brennan? It's easy to forget given how much has transpired since both men consistently led the news throughout the Trump administration. At one time, though, their involvement in Crossfire Hurricane Russia collusion hoax, otherwise known as the Russia collusion investigation, was really big news. Red State writes, For those less initiated, here's a quick refresher. James Clapper was Barack Obama's Director of National, or DNI. What is it? Director of National, I forget what it stands for. And has been credibly accused of lying to Congress. Meanwhile, you have John Brennan, Obama's former CIA director, and he's been credibly accused of doing the same. Both men lived on cable news after Trump's inauguration, making all kinds of wild, unsubstantiated claims related to Russia collusion supposedly committed by the former president. Then in 2020, the two men re-entered the spotlight. Red State writes, as the most notable signatories of a now infamous Intel letter. 51, remember, Intel members, former Intel members signed this letter. They claimed that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. We know that's a complete and utter lie. Frankly, many of us knew it then. Now, many more people know it today. But sadly, even this hasn't filtered out into mainstream media. The story goes on, or the column goes on. That was a completely false contention that was used to influence the outcome of that year's presidential election. But while they've been quiet the last several years, both Clapper and Brennan are back. In an unbelievable move, the Biden administration has chosen to re-employ both of these quote-unquote experts on a new Department of Homeland Security committee. Say what? Say what? Several former intelligence officials who signed a letter suggesting that the Hunter Biden laptop was likely Russian information operation are joining a federal quote-unquote expert board handling issues of national security, the Department of Homeland Security announced on Tuesday. Former Director of National Intelligence, there you are, DNI, National Intelligence. Why did I not think of that? James Clapper, former CIA Director John Brennan, and former CIA Operations Officer Paul Colby, who will now serve on the board, all signed an October 2020 letter casting doubt on the legitimacy of the Hunter Biden laptop and suggesting its release was a Russian disinformation ploy. But now they're back to work for the Department of Homeland Security. The group will advise DHS on intelligence and national security efforts regarding issues such as terrorism, fentanyl, transborder issues, and emerging technology. Terrorism and fentanyl. Can anyone say open borders? I got some video that's going to scare the crap out of you when it comes to open borders as well. It should, especially given some more information. And I'm going to give you guys. We have to win the popular vote, in my opinion. We have to get so many people out on the polls to defeat the cheaters in 2024. You have to keep that in mind. It is going to be sheer numbers. Always expect the left to cheat. We've got to show up, and we've got to get other people to show up. All right. Now, obviously, some of the big news yesterday and into today. Oh, and by the way, there was breaking news that the Rupert Murdoch is going to be, I guess, retiring or resigning from, matter of fact, let me look this up, from Fox News Corporation. Let me look this up, see if I can find it here. Legal Immigration Enclave Colony Ridge. Okay, I don't see it now. This is weird. Okay, but anyway, I'll find that in a sec. But Rupert Murdoch, oh, here it is. Media mogul Rupert Murdoch retiring, will handle media empire over to son Lachlan Murdoch. Okay, so he's a liberal. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Okay, probably not much different than what's happening now. All right, so all right, Tucker Carlson debunks totally made up story that claimed DeSantis kicked his dog. I didn't even know about that story. But anyway, that story's out there. Russell Brand, I mean, the left are coming after him. Not only have they demonetized his YouTube account, UK Parliament demands Rumble demonetize him as well. Rumble has stayed strong. That's why I'm asking you guys to please subscribe on our Rumble channel. Listen, we got to be honest. Part of the business, YouTube is just part of the business. And you know, a lot of people have gone viral. They've made a living off of YouTube. It's part of the business. We have to be on YouTube. But I am asking you, if you're on YouTube, to also subscribe to our Rumble channel, because God forbid, this is election season. We know what the left is capable of. All right, plain and simple. Now, let I do this. Those are some of the things in the news. Texas is home to a massive colony of illegal immigrants, possible cartel hub. This is from the Daily Wire. A Texas land developer has established a sprawling settlement north of Houston where thousands of illegal aliens are believed to have settled, raising concerns among experts and elected officials that the development 400 miles in the interior of the U.S. could become a strategic asset for cartels. This is crazy. There's cartels in North California just running shop with a lot of marijuana type stuff, right? I mean, it's insane. These people are already in the United States, just operating cartels within the United States. This is located in Liberty County, Texas, near the small town of Plum Grove. The Colony Ridge development is a sprawling community that is now over 60 square miles and nearly the size of the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Its population estimated to be anywhere from 50 to 75,000, and it is growing rapidly thanks to a marketing plan targeted at Texas's Hispanic population. Unfreaking believable. Let's see. Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, the nanny of New York, as I like to call her, voted in legislation or introduces voting legislation, gets instantly sued by the GOP. Good. A new law approved by Governor Kathy Hochul, the nanny of New York, my words, Wednesday will allow New Yorkers, it's written wrong, will allows New York voters to cast ballots by mail instead of in person for the 2024 elections, but the ink wasn't even dry when Republican bigwigs sued to block it from taking effect. And again, they're going to do this. And I'll say this, I know I'm going to get some people mad, but this was the mistake of former President Donald Trump signing that CARES Act. The left took advantage of it. I know he had a good heart in doing it, but I want you to understand, when it comes to the left, don't do anything to help the left out. It's as simple as that. These people are freaking commies. And again, I do believe that Trump had a good heart. He had good intentions with Operation Warp Speed, but the left took advantage of that. Once he shut down the economy, he used some of that. Some of the money was used. The Democrats took in order to operate some of their election, campaign engineering stuff. It's insane. And these people are still trying to do that. So trust me, it isn't a knock, but it is truth. When the left totally took advantage of Trump's kindness, they really did. They ran away. That CARES Act, it's crazy, because if you think about it, Trump signing the CARES Act, he essentially signed over his presidency. Democrats just ran with that thing. All right, now. All right, what else? Biden uses executive action to create the American Climate Corps. That's the new COVID. It's the old COVID, but it's the new COVID. I really feel like they want to go lockdown. They want to do COVID again. They want to do climate change, whatever it may be, but still no word on the cost. This, according to National Review. Biden launched the American Climate Corps on Wednesday, a new initiative designed to train 20,000 young people on career pathways in the growing fields of clean energy. Wow. So what you'll have is, 20,000 converts, 20,000 people that are straight up saluting climate change. You know what I mean? That are just totally in the tank for climate change, that are worshiping this doctrine, this ideology of climate change. Wow. These industries are created to get people to get the elites rich, for one, to make us poorer, and to make sure that they have people in industry that they can control and continue to make money off of. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Now, here's what I want to get to, and we're going to run some videos back to back to back that Gabe has for you, and then I want to show you some video of what's transpiring on our border. So again, make sure you tune into our podcast, subscribe to our podcast everywhere you can go to get our podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. Please subscribe, rate it if you can, and review. Oh, also on YouTube, the super thanks. When Gabe talks, it sounds like super things, and I'm like, what do you mean super things? Like super freak? No, it's super. It's super thanks. It's super thanks on YouTube. If you feel led to donate, so be it. We would certainly appreciate it. The goal is to be able to grow this bad boy here and just bring you more information more often, more frequently. I work a full-time job. outside of this. And my goal is to be able to do this full time and focus on you and saving this country, just being completely real with you. Okay, so Merrick Garland sat in front of the House Judiciary Committee yesterday, and he sat there taking in fire, if you will, about targeting Catholics and also giving the Bidens preferential treatment. So we have some videos lined up for you. We're going to play those back to back to back. So tune your ear in. And if you want to see those online, again, please subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble channel to check out the videos if you prefer to watch them. Gabe, let's roll the videos, por favor, one by one. This is Merrick Garland. I'll tell you who's asking the questions. Unless you're on YouTube, you can see for yourself in the Chiron. Let's roll them, Gabe.
Our job is not to do what is politically convenient. Our job is not to take orders from the president, from Congress, or from anyone else about who or what to criminally investigate. As the president himself has said, and I reaffirm today, I am not the president's lawyer. I will add, I am not Congress's prosecutor. The Justice Department works for the American people. Our job is to follow the facts and the law, and that is what we do.
All right. So that's what we do. Liar. Liar, 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 pants on fire. I wish that still meant something. I wish that had, I don't even know. Anyway, but the guy's a complete and utter liar. Whether it's just sheer animosity because he's not on the Supreme Court, whether it seems to me when he first got into office, this is the weird thing. When he first got into office or when he was first selected or appointed to Attorney General, it seemed like he was a decent guy at the very least. But it seemed like the Biden administration lit a fire under his behind. And it was basically, listen, we're going to kick you to the curb unless you don't do what we want. And it seems to me that he went completely, I wouldn't say rogue, because that would suggest that he's doing this on his own. But he decided at that point he had to obey the regime or lose his livelihood and whatever other credibility he had in Washington, D.C. And now the guy has become probably the most dangerous attorney general in American history. Anyway, here's Representative Jeff Van Drew, the Republican from New Jersey, questioning Merrick Garland. Let's hear what he has to say regarding this. And again, he sat in front of the House Judiciary Committee and answered questions about targeting Catholics. All right, the FBI targeting Catholics, and also the Biden administration seemingly getting special, not seemingly, knowingly, the Biden family getting special treatment from the DOJ and FBI. Here's Jeff Van Drew. Let's roll it. Por favor, Gabe.
Attorney General, through the chair, I ask you, do you agree that traditional Catholics are violent extremists?
I have no idea what the traditional means here.
Catholics, Catholics that go to church.
May I answer your question?
Yes
or no?
The idea
that someone with my family background would discriminate against any religion is so outrageous, so absurd.
Mr. Attorney General, it was your FBI that did this. It was your FBI that was sending, and we have the memos, we have the emails, we're sending undercover agents into Catholic churches.
Both I and the director of the FBI have said that we were appalled. Have said that we were appalled by that memo.
So then you agree that they're not extremists?
We were appalled by that memo.
Are they extremists or not, Attorney General?
I think that...
Are they extremists or not, Attorney General?
Everything in that memo is
Are they
appalling.
extremists or not? I'm asking a simple question. Say no if you think that was wrong.
Catholics are not extremists, no.
Was anyone fired for drafting and circulating the anti-Catholic memo?
You have in front of you the inspection division's investigation.
Just tell me yes or no, please.
I don't know.
We have no time.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Do you agree that parents attending school board meetings should be categorized? Should parents that go to school board meetings and are very vocal about their kids' education, should they be classified as domestic terrorists?
Of course not. And my memo made clear that vigorous objections to policies in schools are protected
so it's no.
by the First Amendment.
All right. So that guy did a pretty good job, Jeff Van Drew, Republican from New Jersey, grilling him. If you remember, he used to be a Democrat. He just came in. I think this is his second or third term. He hasn't been in that long. But he came in as a Democrat and quickly soured on the Democrat Party and things that were going on. I think Trump endorsed him, and he ended up winning as a Republican, if I recall correctly. All right, next, do we have another video set up here, Gabe? I think we have a couple of more to run of Merrick Garland's visit. Yeah, here's a good one. Okay, so here's another one. We'll roll this as well. I forget the name of this congressman questioning him, but surely his name will pop up shortly. I see him on different news outlets on occasion. He seems to be a good one. Let's roll it.
Have you had personal contact with anyone at FBI headquarters about the Hunter Biden investigation?
I don't recollect the answer to that question, but the FBI works for the Justice Department. It's.
I'm sorry. You don't recollect whether you've talked with anybody at FBI headquarters about an investigation of the president's son?
I don't believe that I did. I promised the Senate when I came before it for confirmation that I would leave Mr. Weiss in place and that I would not interfere with his investigation.
Okay. Did you ever?
I have kept that promise.
All right.
All right, so that was Representative Mike Johnson. Apparently, the Attorney General has no clue as to whether or not his FBI has looked into the Hunter Biden case. Yeah. Okay. All right. Is there one more? I think there's. Actually, there's a couple more. Here's Jim Jordan. I saw this clip of Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan is always good. But I got to tell you, I wish he would have been just asked questions to try to draw some stuff out. But I mean, Jim Jordan is Jim Jordan. He always does a great job. Let's roll it. But I think he would have been. I think you'll see what I mean. I think he would have been more effective if he would have forced Merrick Garland to answer more questions here. Let's roll it, por favor, Gabe.
Does not recognize himself. Quote, Mr. Weiss has full authority to bring cases in other jurisdictions if he feels it's necessary. That was your response, Attorney General, to Senator Grassley's question on March 1st, 2023. You just referenced it when Mr. Bishop was questioning you. Only problem is he'd already been turned down by the U.S. Attorney in the District of Columbia, Mr. Graves. So he didn't have full authority, did he?
I had an extended conversation with Senator Grassley at the time. We briefly touched on the Section 515 question and how that process went. I've never been suggested.
My point's real simple, Mr. Garland. You said he had complete authority, but he'd already been turned down. He wanted to bring an action in the District of Columbia, and the U.S. Attorney there said, no, you can't. And then you go tell the United States Senate under oath that he has complete authority.
I'm going to say again that no one had the authority to turn him down. They could refuse to partner with him. They could not.
You can use whatever language. Refuse to partner is turning down.
I wish he would have asked him just bluntly, and perhaps he did. Perhaps I missed it. Did you lie under oath in the Senate? Did you lie under oath in the Senate? Did you lie under oath? Yeah, I mean, you got to put these fools on defense. And I think sometimes, and perhaps Jim Jordan did it. And listen, I'm not knocking Jim Jordan because he is excellent. I absolutely love the guy. But you got to make sure that when you get the limited time that you have, you put these fools on defense and you force them to go blah, 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 you know, kind of like the representative did shortly before him. Here's Representative Thomas Massie, who does seem to catch Merrick Garland in a lie. And if you watch on video, you can kind of see his eyes like, oh my God, did he get me? Did he get me? Did he get me? Anyway, here's Representative Thomas Massie. And guys, I got to say this because this is a great congressman. I will literally see there are people in the Republican Party, even in the MAGA movement, that will go after this guy when he has a difference of opinion at times. He is one of the best in Congress, as far as I'm concerned. It's insane. Do not throw away your good guys. This is one of the better ones. Representative Thomas Massie from Kentucky. He's more of a conservatarian, in my opinion, of that bent, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But anyway, all right, let's play Representative Thomas Massie questioning AG Merrick Garland. Por favor, Gabe.
You're citing the Constitution. I'm going to cite it. It's our constitutional duty to do oversight. Now, in that video, that was your answer to a question to me 2 years ago when I said how many agents or assets of the government were present on January 5th and January 6th and agitating in the crowd to go into the Capitol and how many went into the Capitol. Can you answer that now?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, last time, you don't know how many there were or there were none?
I don't know the answer to either of those questions. If there were any, I don't know how many. I don't know whether there are any.
I think you may have just perjured yourself that you don't know that there were any. You want to say that again, that you don't know that there were any?
I have no personal knowledge of this matter. I think what I said last time.
You've had 2 years to find out. And the day, by the way, that was in reference to Ray Epps, and yesterday you indicted him. Isn't that a wonderful coincidence? On a misdemeanor. Meanwhile, you're sending grandmas to prison. You're putting people away for 20 years for merely filming. Some people weren't even there yet. You got the guy on video who's saying go into the Capitol. He's directing people to the Capitol before the speech ends. He's at the site of the first breach. You've got all the goods on him, 10 videos, and it's an indictment for a misdemeanor? The American public isn't buying it. I yield the balance of my time to Chairman Jordan.
May I answer the question?
I'm going to ask you one now. We'll let the gentleman.
Yeah.
Go ahead, but
in discovery, in the cases that were filed with respect to January 6, the Justice Department prosecutors provided whatever information they had about the question that you're asking. With respect to Mr. Epps, the FBI has said that he was not an employee or informant of the FBI. Mr. Epps has been charged, and there's a proceeding, I believe, going on today on that subject.
the charge is a joke. I yield to the chairman.
The time the gentleman has expired. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California.
Mr. Attorney General, my colleague just said that you should be held in contempt of
How many UCs, how many undercovers were on the ground on January 6th? This fool doesn't know? Seriously? The head of the DOJ doesn't know? All right, I had enough of this punk. I can't stand this fool. I'm sorry. I can't stand this fool. I mean, let me not say. I don't want those fools knocking on my door. And no, I wasn't going to go there. So, but anyway, I just can't stand him. This is the epitome of evil. This guy is locking up people for 10, 15, 20 years for mostly peacefully protesting. One guy gets 10 years. I understand he broke a glass at a Capitol. The glass was worth a few $100. Okay, pay for the glass. I do believe that guy maybe a 6-month sentence or something like that. 10 years? 10 years? Enrique Tarrio, not even in Washington, D.C. at the time. They have no evidence that he conspired to riot or do anything. It's just that name, the Proud Boys, the narrative. Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, these are domestic terrorists. And it's total BS. I mean, this is insane. Now, remember what I told you at the beginning. And listen, guys, there's always exceptions, right? We have some great people within the conservative movement, no doubt about it, that are going out and kicking butt and taking names, and people that are registering voters. Scott Pressler, again, I told you he was on a Twitter space that I was on last night. He's one of them. You've got organizations like Turning Point. We've got some of our young guns, if you will, doing great work. Charlie Kirk, again, you got Officer Tatum, you got Candace Owens with the Blexit movement, you got Brandon Straka with Walkaway. There are plenty of people that are doing great work. I mean, and not to mention countless organizations that have been fighting statewide. I know Florida Family Policy Council, there's organizations out there that are doing heavy lifting and doing yeoman's work. But I got to tell you, as a party in general, the GOP is sorely lacking. And I appreciate the 20 or so that are trying to stand up and get some type of cuts, some type of spending cuts, some type of accountability, some type of border security, because the GOP just stinks. And sadly, it seems to me that we're fighting against each other more than we're fighting against the left. It makes no sense to me. Again, I go online, and maybe that's my problem because it isn't real life. But I'll go online and we got great memes, we got great hot takes, and listen, I have to look in the mirror myself. But it's true, we great memes, great hot takes, but and then we've got some great infighting. I mean, there's people online. If you're a Trump supporter, you want to crush DeSantis, and maybe if you're a DeSantis supporter, you want to crush Trump. That's the dumbest thing ever. I mean, that is Saul Alinsky rules for radicals that the left is using in order for us to destroy each other, when the truth of the matter is Trump supporters need DeSantis supporters. I know you're thinking, well, Carl Trump is ahead by 60 points, 70, 80, 100 points. We don't need DeSantis. Hey, fool, this is a primary. You're talking about 5% of people that are even paying attention to politics right now. Check it out. The number of people that they're even polling, the number of people paying attention to politics right now is so small, it's not even funny. So those of us that do exist in the political realm, that are on Twitter, that are on these spaces, that are on social media talking about politics, understand our numbers are tiny. Tinier than in 2022, tinier than in 2020, because so many people are just like, I'm just tuning out. I can tell you, I know some ardent Trump supporters that are just like, that are, I'm talking about flag waving, you know what I'm saying? MAGA hat wearing, that are just like, I'm just tired. I'm just tuned out. I'll check back in once the primary actually gets started. Not even watching the debates. I'm just checked out. Just straight up. And honestly, I think that's happening more than people want to admit. So we become great at memes. We've been we're great at hot takes, many of us. But the infighting, we become really great at that. We can read primary polls all day as if that really matters, right now, so far out. That it's absolutely insane, in my opinion, but whatever, it is what it is. Meanwhile, you've got this guy in the White House. Again, I offered this at the very beginning, but just consider this, and then I want to share some information with you. If you think for a second we're going to run away with 2024, all right, Trump is leading in general election polling when 5% of people are paying attention. So we're going to run away with it in 2024. The country is so miserable, we're going to run away with it in 2024. Why didn't we in 2022? Why didn't we in 2022? Oh, it was abortion. It really? So it was abortion in Pennsylvania why we lost, but we ran away with it in Florida? Really? When we were stricter on abortion? Really? So it was abortion. Stop fooling yourself. And stop letting, quite frankly, some idiots on the right fool you too. Man, there's idiots on the right too. I'm just being straight up with you. And the longer I'm in this business, the more I realize that as well. People that are just straight up grifters, fake phonies, making money off of MAGA and Trump's name and stuff like that. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. It is just, it's weird. But I think we have a duty and a responsibility to be truthful to you. And that's certainly what I'm going to do. Not saying I'm above anybody, but that's just the way I roll. I don't know. I don't know anything else. Consider this. We can talk MAGA all we want. We can talk how this degenerate liar in the White House, this guy who says he grew up in a black church. He had a rabbi. He was at Ground Zero the day after. I think he said he had some Puerto Rican heritage or something like that. Told what's his name of the Breakfast Club, you don't vote for me. Charlemagne. I don't like saying the guy. Charlemagne is no God. You don't vote. If you don't vote for me, you're not black. Spoke about Barack Obama, clean, articulate, black man, so on, etc. I mean, the guy just a straight up racist, and he's still his administration is still outmaneuvering the GOP in just 2.5 years. I want you to think about this before you sit there and just think we're going to run away in 2024. In just 2 years, you have Biden has erased virtually all of Trump's accomplishments, because I hate to say it, folks, we didn't get a lot of legislative work done during Trump's administration. I love all of the great things that he did. I love his foreign policy, right? We all love it. I love the fact that he fought for the borders, remain in Mexico City policy, all this kind of stuff. But the truth of the matter is we didn't get enough done. So in 2.5 years, you got virtually all of Trump's accomplishments erased. The wall wasn't built. We've got, I think it was 40-something miles of new wall, 400-something miles of wall that was kind of restored, rebuilt, made better. but there's still such major gaps. Look at the borders. We'll show you a picture in just a sec. So in 2.5 years, virtually all of Trump's accomplishments are erased. Biden got an infrastructure package that we couldn't get under the Trump administration. Biden got the Inflation Reduction Act, which essentially wipes out any Tax Cuts Jobs Act legislation and benefits that we had, because inflation is freaking skyrocketing. You heard the news. The left is trying to push us into EVs, trying to push us into this green energy, climate change agenda. You know what I'm saying? So everything has been wiped away. And not to mention that, the decrepit old man in the White House beat our behinds on a debt ceiling debate. And I know the GOP Senate helped them, but beat our behinds in a debt ceiling debate last year. And guess what? It's about to happen again. It's about this shutdown stuff. Actually, it shouldn't be called a shutdown. It should be called a government diet. We can't even get that. We have to beg for crumbs. We have to ask and beg the GOP, the people we hire, to beg for crumbs. So if your GOP congressman isn't doing the job, it's time to hold them accountable. It's time to hold them accountable, because I think we're about to lose again. I hate to say it. Hat Tip Daily Signal. I think this originally appeared somewhere else. Real Clear Politics, if I'm not mistaken. Voter registration charities, an overlooked hyper-partisan scandal. All right. Also, I read through the American Conservative beating Brandon. And this was a good little short column from the American Conservative. But basically, how we can't just sit here and think we're going to beat Brandon when he ran circles around him. The things that under the Biden administration, we believe as Americans, we believe as constitutionalists, we believe as Republicans and conservatives, we know that this legislation will hurt individuals, will hurt the American dream, will fundamentally transform America. But for the communists, Biden has been doing some heavy lifting. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's not and blow smoke up your butt. Like, frankly, a lot of conservatives, I'm starting to realize, will do that. I don't know if it's to make themselves feel good, to give themselves hope. If you don't get your butt out and vote, if you don't take somebody out to vote, we're going to lose. It's as simple as that. I'm going to share with you this information. But before I do this, I want to show you, this is the invasion at the border. Just take a look at this video. Let's go ahead and run it, Gabe. And then I want to close out with this column. Man. All right. Arriving to... Yeah, there we go. There are replacements coming in. Look at that. Welcome, guys. Welcome to America. Yes. Welcome. Here's our replacements coming in. Yes, indeed. That is a lot of people. A lot of replacements, Gabe. Yeah. I'm what did you say? There it goes. Let's play the river one too, Gabe. I want you guys to check this one out too. Watch the invasion through the Rio Grande here. I mean, this stuff never ceases to amaze me. And can we be honest? I've grown a little numb to it, because I know, and I think you know, nothing's going to be done. Let's roll this last video, Gabe, and then I want to go through this last column real quick and check out here. Okay. All right. Well, while Gabe gets that together, all right, Hat Tip Daily Signal, voter registration, charities, and overlooked hyperpartisan scandal. The column starts out like this: nonprofit voter registration doesn't sound interesting. You got it? Nonprofit voter registration. All right. Anyway, it doesn't sound interesting. According to the column, yet nonprofit voter registration or the use of tax-exempt charitable organizations to conduct and fund voter registration drives is one of the most important underreported political scandals of our time, the author writes. Nonprofit voter registration and the get out the vote activities that usually accompany it have become the heart of a billion-dollar industry in America. This, according to Candidates Foundation funding for U.S. Democracy Database. Since 2011, Barack Obama years, nearly 60,000 grants, listen to this, have been made for the voter education, registration, and turnout and civic participation. Man, that's a mouthful. Voter education, registration, and turnout and civic participation. Again, since 2011, nearly 60,000 grants issued to these non-profit voter registration organizations that benefits 15,000 different organizations to the tune of 5.9 billion, billion with a B. Most of the largest grantors and grantees in this industry are left-leaning. Of course they are. Despite IRS prohibiting 501c3, you think Biden is going to enforce this? So despite the IRS prohibiting 501c3 charitable nonprofit groups from engaging in partisan electioneering, it has long been an open secret that the purpose of their work is to register voters from favorable demographics in order to help Democrats get elected. So we're great at memes. All right, we're great at hot takes. We're great at reading primary polls. Within the Republican Party primary, Trump and DeSantis supporters are absolutely destroying each other when the truth is we're going to need more than Trump. And I'm sorry, I don't want, if Trump is a nominee, I don't want a rhino like Kristi Noem on the ticket. All right, because I'm looking at years down the line. I'm sick of this stuff, man. I'm sick of people fighting harder for candidates than you're willing to fight for your own freaking freedom. It's sickening. We should be using these fools to make sure we remain free after they leave office. Anyway, going on. Most of the largest grantors, again, they're left-leaning. The voter registration industry has always retreated behind the fig leaf of nonpartisanship, but we know that's total BS. All right, that's total BS. All right, so the report, this guy, Parker Thayer is his name. He did a report called How Charities Secretly Help Win Elections was the name of his report. And it ripped away the fig leaf, so to speak. So the report reveals the untold story of a nondescript charity named the Voter Registration Project that was used to funnel over $100 million into a 5-year voter registration that was used to funnel over $100 million in a 5-year voter registration scheme that was hatched by what? The Clinton campaign. Hatched by Clinton campaign operatives to help Democrats win in the 2020 elections. Using tax forms, leaked documents, leaked emails, the report shows how the scheme aimed to register, listen to this, more than 5 million non-white voters in swing states. Arizona, well, Colorado is no longer a swing state. It's basically blue. Florida, Georgia, Ohio, North Carolina, Virginia, and Nevada. That's the race. That's the presidential race. Now, Florida, thanks to Governor Ron DeSantis, we're in great shape. I mean, one of the things that he did right away, as soon as he came into office, election integrity was an issue. He fired 2 of the supervisors of elections that were shady. That's not the case everywhere. Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Ohio, North Carolina, Virginia, Nevada. It's just not the case everywhere. This was developed through multiple drafts and edits into a highly sophisticated plan dubbed the Everybody Votes campaign. So Everybody Votes campaign, basically, it's just a get out the vote effort. All this money being funneled into these nonprofit organizations, these NGOs. The website, notably, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, Americans are expected to believe the excuse given on Everybody Votes campaign's new website that its left-wing donors are merely, quote, committed to creating a more representative democracy by building and supporting large-scale, long-term voter registration in communities of color. Now, the website notably boasts that 76% of the 5.1 million voters it has registered were people of color, but then curiously declines to mention which states said people of color were from. A recent job listing from the organization shows that its target states for 2024, again, will be Florida, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Wisconsin. But we're doing a great job of infighting, guys. We're doing a great job. Trump versus DeSantis, DeSantis versus Trump. Meanwhile, a decrepit old man in the White House that has dementia is running circles around the Republicans and conservative movement. But we're doing a great job of infighting. Watch this. Watch this. These are the residents they're going to try to send to said Florida, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Wisconsin. Since the race is usually, or at least in 2020, was decided by 40, 50,000 people. Let's go ahead and roll this last video. We'll close it out, Gabe. Again, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. Also, check us out on YouTube and Rumble. For those of you that have clicked on super thanks to help us out, we certainly do appreciate that. MyPillow.com. Seriously, guys, they have great products there. I'm not just blowing smoke up your butt. We put on Instagram. I think my dogs are on there. We've got 4 dog beds inside of our home here. I know it sounds excessive, but we had dogs before. But we have 4 dog beds here. For whatever reason, man, one of the dogs is a freaking big, pit bull mastiff mix, and the other is a Staffordshire mix. And they will literally they both prefer the MyPillow bed. So they will literally both sleep on it. Like one will wiggle up and make room and try to scoot on. It's fascinating. So anyway, MyPillow.com, great products there. Great deep discounts. All you have to do is enter my name, Carl, right? Radio Podcast Square, CARL, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Let's roll this last video here, Gabe. This is Anna, and actually I want to get her on. Gia Rotelli. She's been doing great work, too, at the border. I think she's with the Washington Examiner, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, here's a video that she released. Let's go ahead and roll this. All right, so that was it. But you see it. The trains, through waters, planes, trains, automobiles. Actually, planes, too. I'm semi-joking, but they did. The Biden administration did disperse, so they were dispersing, probably still are, illegal immigrants in different parts of the country throughout the middle of the night. Hoping nobody would remember that. So, guys, man, just listen. I hate to use this word, but it's true. I think there's communists that are trying to take over the country. Our enemy is the Biden administration. Our enemy are those within the administration that want to fundamentally transform America. And I hate using that word because it isn't to be hyperbolic. I hate thinking of people in that way. And I don't want people to be violent or nasty. Our fight is at the ballot box. We've got to make sure that not just you show up, but tons of people show up. If you can get involved in an organization, you know what? Actually, you can. Just make the time, or make the time to donate. Donate to the people that are doing the work, that are fighting back against the culture, the PragerU's of the world. Donate to the Turning Points, the Scott Presslers of the world, the Florida Family Policy Councils like we have here locally. Donate to the people that are doing the work. If that isn't, something you're called to do, and then maybe you volunteer for them, or maybe again you have a conversation with a family, friend, or neighbor and just try to persuade them. But you need to take at least one extra person to the poll before Election Day. Vote early, and then you get out and wave signs, encourage people, do whatever you can. I feel like we need to have a popular vote win, and that's not going to be easy. So let's not take this for granted. Let's not take it lightly. I'm going to ask you to do something. There's so many people that are just polls oriented. Screw the polls right now, man. Don't believe the polls. If you want your guy to win, you fight for your guy. But most importantly, we got to make sure that whomever the nominee is, and I know right now it looks like it's going to be Trump. But if you want to fight for your guy, fight for your guy. But after the primary, we need to come together. We need to make sure that we are focused on defeating leftists and the Biden administration. And we need to make sure that we're not pummeling each other so much in the primary right now that we forget who really is trying to destroy this country and who really would try to restore this country. It's a shame it's gotten this bad, but it has. All right, guys, until next time.